I'm going to keep this straightforward because the biggest question anyone faces with a sub like this is whether it actually fits the kind of sound system they're building, or if it ends up as a costly piece of metal that never gets used. If you're on the fence, I'll walk through the practical side of owning a 15-inch, 6400-watt competition sub, so you can see the real value and the hidden trade-offs before you click anything. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the Harmony Audio ML152 isn't marketed as a plug-and-play home theater add-on. It's a vented SPL box built for people who already have a serious power plant and who are comfortable handling high-current wiring, heavy enclosures, and the kind of tuning that turns a car trunk into a bass cannon. That's a very specific audience. If you've spent a few months researching car audio, watching build videos, and you already own a multi-kilowatt amplifier, this sub could be the next logical step. If you're just looking for a little extra thump for a casual weekend drive, you'll probably find the ML152 more trouble than it's worth. The first thing I noticed when digging into the specs is the 6400-watt power handling rating. That number isn't a suggestion that you'll be feeding it 6,400 watts of clean power all the time, it's the absolute maximum the drivers can survive before they start to overheat or mechanically fail. In real-world terms, you need an amp that can deliver somewhere in the 35 kilowatt RMS range, with a solid power supply and proper gauge wiring. If you try to run it off a stock car battery or a modest 500-watt amp, you'll end up with clipped bass, blown fuses, and a lot of frustration. The sub's dual 15-inch woofers can produce impressive SPL levels, but only when the rest of the system is equally robust. One practical strength that shows up when you actually install the ML152 is the vented design. Unlike sealed boxes that can sound tight but often need more power to move the same air, a vented enclosure lets the drivers breathe, which translates to deeper, more resonant lows in a competition setting. In the few build videos I've seen where people paired this sub with a properly tuned port and a high-output amp, the bass was audible not just inside the vehicle but also through the windows, exactly what you need for a judged sound-off. The precise bass reproduction claim holds up if you've already dialed in the right crossover and phase alignment. The sub can be surprisingly clean for its size when everything is matched. On the flip side, the same vented design can be a double-edged sword. Because the port needs to be correctly sized and the enclosure sealed tightly around the drivers, any mistake in construction can lead to chuffing noises or a loss of low-frequency efficiency. That's a hidden trade-off you won't see on the product page. If you're not comfortable cutting panels, sealing seams, and calculating port dimensions, you may end up with a box that sounds boomy but sloppy, or worse, a sub that rattles and damages itself over time. Another practical weakness is the sheer weight and size of the unit. Two 15-inch woofers, a heavy vented cabinet, and the reinforcement needed to keep it from flexing under high SPL add up to a piece that can easily weigh 6,070 pounds. Installing it in a standard sedan trunk often means removing seats, reinforcing mounting points, and dealing with limited clearance for the port. In a compact car, you might have to sacrifice passenger space just to fit it. That's a cost you don't see in the price tag, but it's very real when you try to bolt the sub in place. Value for money is a tricky metric here because the ML152 is essentially a component, not a complete system. The box itself might sit at a mid-range price for a competition sub, but the total spend quickly climbs when you factor in a matching amplifier, a high-current wiring harness, a dedicated power distribution block, and possibly an upgraded battery or capacitor bank. If you already own those pieces, the sub can be a good addition. If you're starting from scratch, you're looking at a six-figure project before you even hit the road. The low rating of 2.6 stars from 3 reviewers hints that there may be some reliability or expectation issues in the field, even though we don't have the specific comments. In a market where a few badly matched components can ruin an entire build, that rating is a caution sign to do thorough research before committing. It doesn't automatically mean the sub is defective, but it does suggest that owners who didn't have the right supporting gear or who expected a plug-and-play experience were left disappointed. Who should buy it? If you're a seasoned car audio competitor, you have a high-output amp, you understand port tuning.